Dax distracts Worf with her outfit. Worf distracts Dax with shouting and grunting. And Chief O'Brien makes a joke. Hey, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are doing a review of Deep Space Nine's Season 4, Sons of Mogh, directed by Mr. David Livingston and written by Battlestar Galactica's own Ronald D. Moore. How are you today, Cirroc?
I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. I guess I should have said Deep Space Nine's own Ronald D. Moore. That works too, but just want to throw that out there.
He's ours. He's our guy.
So very quickly, we do want to point out something really cool sent to us by Spitfire Labs. It is this awesome thing here. Check this out. It's really, really, really cool. We can talk a little bit more about it in a moment. But look at this. It's even got the Klingon. Good golly, it's amazing.
That's really nice.
Yeah, really good.
You think you could beam that over here so I can take a look at it?
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me beam it over. Okay, put it on the transporter pad. All right. There it is. Energize.
There it is. Really nice.
Yeah.
Look, it just
wow, would you look at? Holy moly.
Look at the detail, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that thing is, that's as good as it gets right there.
Yeah.
Look at that detail.
So I was going to talk about it more a little bit later, but you know what? Let's hit it up right now. So real quick, we are going to review Sons of Mogh with Tony Todd, the amazing Tony Todd. Lots of great Klingon stuff. But let's talk about this really quickly because I did notice something. There's this part right here. And I realized what this was literally just when I watched this episode. It is the design that Worf has on his sash. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, yeah, actually, there it is. See, it's that thing. Let me get that out of the way. Yeah, see? And I just saw that when I was watching this episode. I was like, wait a second. I recognize that from the plaque that Spitfire Labs sent me. I should have known that maybe, but I only just now realized it when I watched this episode earlier today. Let me give you.
This thing is just so great. I mean, it's literally just gorgeous.
Unbelievable. So our good buddies at Spitfire Labs sent us this. Look at all the detail. While Cirroc shows you that, I will give you a quick description of it so you know what the heck we are talking about. Let me pull it up. Okay, so it's the Klingon Special Edition Cherry, laser engraved on approximately 11.5 inches by 17.5 inches cherry hardwood. On the board, there is the inscription of long live the Empire and for the honor and glory and the blood splatter of your enemies, of course. The Klingon letters are outlined with 1/8 of an inch walnut with cherry inlay and red textured paper in the background. The Klingon emblem has an outline and circle made from cherry with a walnut inlay and the same textured red paper. The design itself is meant to mimic a bird of prey warship. The walnut edition is the opposite. The House of Mogh and House of Core emblems are CNC'd out of the 1/2-inch solid cherry wood. God, this is awesome.
I didn't realize there was so much.
Yeah, there's so much more. The Kalis batleth is made from steel cut with a water jet and wrapped in a faux leather strap. It is not sharp to touch, but the pointed ends can cause damage or harm, so please be careful. It is held in place with magnets and can come off and on with ease when removing the batleth. Please lift the bottom up to prevent scratches to the artwork. The batleth is not a toy. Please keep away from children. The batch will be limited to 25 after they sell out online. The only way to get them is to grab one of the select few that have been put off to the side for conventions only, and allow 2 to 3 weeks for shipping. Now, there is one other thing I do want to mention about this, because if you guys want to get it, you can get a special deal from us. You can get a 15% off discount code on all the large boards, just like exactly what you saw here. But that's all the large boards, not just the Klingon ones. There's a ton of really cool ones. 15% off. Just use the discount code 7th Rule 15. That's 7THRULE 15. 1-5. So what we'll do is we will include the link in the description box below. We will include the code in the description box below. So after you watch this, go to the link, click on it, use the code, and get 15% off, anything like that. The detail is unbelievable. I want to talk about this for much longer, but you guys are probably like already going to get it, and want us to talk about the Sons of Mogh. So let's do that. let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, but just, the quality of the wood, you can just see the quality of the wood. Cherry, obviously they're using cherry and walnut, so they're doing like as high end of wood you can possibly use, right? Yeah. And it just feels so heavy and feels so, the prop department used to make plaques for us every year.
No way, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they would, all the guys making the constructions and the set designers would make plaques every year for us. And there were these wooden plaques with, engravings on them, much similar to what I'm holding in my hand. And it was such an honor to receive that. I have most of my plaques.
Most,
yeah. I parted with some, I think, because there was just so much. I could see it in the person's eyes. They wanted it so much, and I had to make sure that they had, a little bit of joy in their life.
I really want your Klingon plaque.
Yes, and I don't see enough joy in your eyes.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know. Was it wood too? What they made for you guys?
Yeah, they're wooden plaques. Not as intricate and detailed as this. So this is actually more detailed than the ones that they would make.
I'm always blown away by people with artistic skills, and I'm like, how do people? It's just unbelievable. It's amazing. Anyway,
it's great.
Okay, you'll have to show us one of those plaques someday, though. I really would love to see one of those someday.
Yeah, I have
maybe next week. So this episode here, we thought it'd be the perfect episode to talk about it because Worf is pouting throughout the entire episode, and we get to see old Jake Sisko being his brother.
The old Jake, yeah. Tony Todd, fantastic, man. What a job. And it's funny because it's him as soon as you kind of hear him talk.
I was going to ask you if you recognized him right away, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I was like, Tony Todd, voice unmistakable. That was the
yeah, totally. That's the candy man. Don't try to trick me.
He has an unmistakable voice, unmistakable delivery, and how he speaks in general. And I think he makes a fantastic Klingon in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I loved it too. It was cool to see him. We have seen him before in The Next Generation, if I remember correctly. But for you or for anybody just watching Deep Space Nine, this is our first time seeing him. And basically, obviously, probably the last, right? Because they've wiped his memory. They changed him up. But it was a good one. And we get to see the Batleth and the Mechleth and the little discussion there. There's definitely some flirtation between Dax and Worf, right? You're noticing that, right?
Oh yeah, that was clear in this episode. I mean, unmistakable. That you can see that it's about to go down. She's talking about
what's
his
about to go down.
The two of them getting involved is about to go down. I can see it. Because she relates to him so much. I think he's so adamant about his Klingon ways, and she relates to that. Where whether it's like these Batleth fighting scenes, and she can kind of empathize with what the traditions are, with the customs, like they talked about in this one, the Maktabar. And she knew what that was. I mean, so the fact that she understands the culture, I think, just lets me know that this is a no-brainer.
I usually try to write stuff down, but when the Klingons say stuff, I'm like, I'm just gonna, I don't know. He said, blah, blah. She said, blah, blah. We get it. And I was like, I wanted to kind of write it down, but I was like, my autocorrect is gonna, if I put on my computer, my autocorrect is gonna go nuts. And I'm gonna be like, what did I put down there? You know, already it autocorrects Worf to Word, W-O. That's a fun thing, actually. We should have one day where I just go over all of the things that my autocorrect. So Worf is always Word, W-O-R-D. Kern is forever turn, T-U-R-N. Bashir is always Basher. You know? So there's certain things where it's like when I see them in my notes, I just know who it is because it always changes. It doesn't like learn and say, oh, he's typed in Bashir 50 times. Maybe I'll keep it to Bashir this time. Nope, every single time it's Basher. So now I have to type like Julian. And for O'Brien, I don't remember what it calls him, but I just put Chief. And Odo turns to Odd. O-D-D.
Well, my name turns into Citrus when I try to text somebody.
Really?
So, I'm like, what's up? It's Citrus. And they're like, Citrus?
They're like, ooh, you sound juicy.
I'm like, no,
I am.
No, Cirroc. That's my autocorrect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but so I know a little bit about the autocorrect thing.
I have actually seen when I typed in Cirroc, it did change to Citrus, but it also has changed to Cirroc with one R. And I don't know why. I don't think that is the vodka brand. Does the vodka brand only have one R?
The vodka has one R, yeah.
Okay, then maybe that's why.
Yeah, it might be that. But yet it recognizes the vodka, you know?
Oh, and Garrick. It changes Garrick to Gary. So I'm like, oh, he sounds like a sweetie. You know, it's like Gary is insidious. So that's.
Yeah, it looks like Galron went hard on the Moghs.
He did go hard on the Moghs, the House of Mogh. They were really what? They were really. I didn't know that he was so. I don't know another way to say it. How do I say it? I didn't know he was so, you know, mean to them.
Yeah, he was very mean to them. He stripped his family, of the land and their title, and you really get to see a lot about how the actions of Worf trickled down on this character, right? All right, man. Let's get serious here.
I'm trying, but you keep.
Sorry. we see how what Worf did actually had an effect and impacted Kern and his life. So it's been difficult for him having to deal with the fallout. So, oh God. But that's what I felt. That's what I really took away from this. Is like, how what we do in life, what we think only affects us, actually affects other people too, especially in a culture like this.
Right. I totally agree with your point that I only half heard because I couldn't stop laughing like a 7-year-old. It reminds me of when our favorite human in the world was still with us, Mr. Aron Eisenberg, and Heather Jordan's microphone made that farting sound. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, and I really like Voyager because, and we're just like, and then that's it. We're 7 years old all over again for like 10 minutes, and we couldn't pull it together.
We couldn't get it back. I remember that, and she kind of made an emotion at the same time. So it just
she went like this. She went.
But yes, I remember those moments. But those were the moments, for example, that I had with Aron when we would do the self-sealing step bolts. It became such a laughing spree that you can't get focused, right?
But aren't those the best memories?
They are.
Maybe not when it was happening right then. You were kind of fighting it, but like when you look back at it, right?
Yeah, when we look back, because it was it was something that bonded us, right? It was like something that we'll never forget. It was a moment where
you guys were self-sealing.
We were the only ones laughing at some point, and that made it even funnier.
That's
for some
the
reason.
best kind of joke. That's the best one.
So, but I did think that they pronounced this thing the Mokhtabar or Mokhtabar. So that was my guess of what it's what Kern was asking for.
It was something like that. And then for those of us that don't get it, he's like, I want you to kill me. We're like, oh, I understand that.
Which I didn't think Worf would do, to be honest with you. He was really like overly willing.
Yeah. It did not take any convincing. You're right. I thought the same thing where he was just like, okay, you know, and then Kern was like, well, I don't know. And Worf's like, no, I will do it right now, right here. Let's go. I've got a knife. He was mad at it. He's like, this will teach you not to get back to me for 4 months.
Yeah. I came here for you to talk me out of this, and you're like, I will hurry up and make your wishes.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
There was a moment there, though. I really loved Odo's performance in this one too. There was some things where I thought he really nailed moments, and one of those moments,
I'm going to guess, but I won't say. You tell me. I'll tell you if I got it right.
No, you guess first, and I'm going to tell you if you got it right.
My guess was because there are a lot of things that sometimes a good actor just makes the choice of emphasizing a word in the right place or in the right way, and that's all it takes to make it even more interesting. And he did that a few times, like when he was talking about Kern as a security officer and a couple other things, and I may have put them in my notes, but the one especially was when he said, Commander, you'll find I'm a man who collects on his debts. That was a good line. It was delivered well. I don't know if I'm guessing right, but that one stood out to me.
That was one of the two moments that I highlighted in my own notes that I thought Renee made excellent choices of.
There was another great joke that he said when he says, when he's like, oh, and Worf, does he know how to use the stun setting?
Yes.
But that was more of just a funny line than anything. But what was yours?
And he also did another joke when he said he's only killed four Boslick. Yeah, it's been 6 hours, and he only killed 4 Boslick. Yeah. That was another joke. So we got to see a little bit of his delivery style for humor, and I thought that was great. But the moments I really thought he hit home runs on, one was the one you mentioned where Worf says, I am indebted to you.
And he's like, yeah, you are, buddy.
Yes, you are. Right? And he reminded him of that, something that I thought he may have even borrowed from Quark, right? Because that's something Quark would say, like, you owe me, and believe me, I'm gonna cash in on that.
Right.
And I felt like Odo may have even borrowed that from Quark in his relationship and interaction with Quark. But I like the emphasis on I am a man who collects on his debts. Like he made that a point, and that's just great writing on Ronald Moore's part. Mm-hmm. But it's also just great acting on Rene Auberjonois for really hitting that line. I thought with so much emphasis that it actually made me like take a step back. Like, whoa, how many times have I interacted with a person that was like that, who did something for me, but with the expectation of collecting on whatever it was, right?
Right.
So it just reminded me of a kind of a person that I had dealt with in my own life.
Yeah, and again, there's certain times where Odo says something and he just puts an emphasis on the right word or on a different word than we would expect, or he pauses, or like when he says, I'm a man who collects on his debts. There's a little bit of emphasis on collects, and it's very calm. He's not saying it as a joke. Mm-hmm. He's not saying it as a throwaway line. He's saying, we'll be talking. You know what I mean? Like it's a very it's a very confident way of doing it.
I was waiting for it to happen in the episode because I thought they were foreshadowing
Interesting.
him collecting on the debt within this episode, right? So I was
Interesting.
expecting at some point Renee to say, "Oh, I gave your brother a chance. I gave this, and now I want you to do this for me." I thought it was going to come even as fast as in this episode. But the other thing I wanted to bring a highlight to on just what Renee was delivering in this episode, it was the other line where he told Worf, "You better hope he lives, Commander. Otherwise, you'll be charged with murder." And the way he said it, man, it was just like, it's like, I know we work together. I know I see you every day. I know we've had coffee. I know we've been debriefed in the episode. But if I have to, I'm coming to get you.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a cold, hard reality on how Odo views Worf, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a cold-hearted snake.
Yeah.
That's Paula. There we go. You're too deadpan sometimes. I thought I was the deadpan guy sometimes, but you're like, yeah. And I was like, do I have to explain it? But you're saying the lines for me. I'm like, I just need to have more confidence in you.
Yeah, it's the lover boy at play. I know the song. I love that song.
Nice. Yeah. Who doesn't?
I was big on Paula Abdul back.
Well, what's your favorite Paula Abdul song?
2 steps forward and 2 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
We come together because opposites attract. You know,
right. It ain't fiction. Yeah.
Oh, another person. We are close to this break because I don't want to go too deep into this.
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Okay.
But when we get together.
Go ahead.
I just love Paula Abdul's voice, in that song because she's like, I don't like cigarettes. She's always so nasally. He's like, and I like to smoke. He's like proud of it. Anyway, I'm sorry. he's like, yeah, I like to smoke. He steals the covers.
Oh yeah, you got that song. You know it, man. I just know the hook. Really, that's about it.
What were you saying? Sorry.
No, I was actually saying something about another performance I thought was really good with Sisko in this episode.
Right. Okay. Well, then you're right. That's a bigger discussion. We have the break in just a minute.
Yeah,
so
I want to get into that.
Yeah. So we will have a good break. We're going to make a lot of Paula Abdul references. We won't shy away from them. We'll just say them straight up. Am I right? And
straight up now, tell me, gonna be you and me together.
And speaking of which, I do also want to talk about Kira and O'Brien on the other side because they were really good. At first, they were on the Federation runabout Yukon, which I thought was really cool because that's actually a runabout that has a lot of history. The full name was the Yukon Touch This. That's the wrong person. From Fremont, California, ladies and gentlemen. Don't hurt them. Anyway. All right. Well, let's just take our break. Let's clean ourselves up. And we're going to talk about Sisko's awesome performance and much more. Stick around on The Seventh Rule. Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Seventh Rule. We are reviewing all kinds of stuff, but we're focusing on the Sons of Mogh, Deep Space Nine Season 4. Very quickly, the trivioids that may or may not have made the cutting room floor, a few, less than usual. Dax distracts Worf with her outfit. It says Word distracts Dax with shouting and grunting. Word's brother reminds us of old Jake Sisko. Chief O'Brien makes a joke. Quark gives Word some Adanji incense. Sisko yells at Dax for something Worf did, which I thought was hilarious. Kern tries on a Bajoran outfit, and Kira captains the Defiant, which was also very cool.
Yeah.
I
did notice that.
Yeah. What were you saying? Sorry.
No, I noticed that Kira was in the captain's chair, I think, at the Defiant for the first time that I can remember. So.
I don't know if it was the first time, but I thought the same thing. Where I'm like, if it's not the first time, I don't remember the first time, but this was the first time I remember it. And she was sitting in it like she owns the place, which is great. We love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you noticed, speaking of Sisko's performance, which was great, because usually we see him, we usually see captains kind of playing like tough love, like, okay, I'm going to be stern with you, but I love you. But every once in a while, Sisko doesn't even give that, but I love you stuff. He's just like, get the fuck out of my face. Don't ever do it again. We're not friends right now. We could be friends another time. It was funny though. I did notice. I was like, God, he's yelling at poor Dax, and Dax didn't do it. He's like, both of you, get the hell out of my office. I want Dax to be like, what? Okay.
What the hell? What did I do? I didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
I loved it though, because it's just like he reaches another level of authoritarian, right? You just feel his presence so much so, and it's like a disappointed father almost, right? He's like, I expect more from you, and you guys are disappointing me. And I mean, I loved his speech where he says, I reached the limit on cultural diversity. He's like, that's it. I'm trying to accept everybody. I know you got different, he's managing all these cultures. He's got the Bajoran coming over there and kicking their shoes off and acting like they run the show because of their cultural beliefs. He's got the Klingons coming there. He's got the Cardassians saying this is our station. And
Klingons saying, what's the big deal? We just kill each other whenever we want. Who cares?
Right.
Like, well, not here.
And the Cardassians are like, this is our stuff. This is our stuff. You guys are getting our sloppy seconds. So
I don't understand that reference.
Like, somebody eats and then they say, you want to eat
oatmeal and stuff. Got it.
Right. Oatmeal. Right. So the thing that was kind of nice about what he did is he took a stand where he's saying, I accept people's cultural beliefs. I am made room for and tolerated things that I normally wouldn't accept. But this is now crossing a line of humanity that I can't accept. I can't accept, first-degree murder as a cultural belief. And I'm not going to let it happen. And he kind of draws a line there. And I think that was poignant and critical for him, kind of just reestablishing his command on that station. I felt like he is the boss, and there's no real questioning of that.
Right. And sometimes he does have to kind of remind people, you just, by the way, yes, we have coffee together, or however you put it. But when you put on that uniform, I expect some things from you, and you expect some things from me. And one of those things you expect from me is to be your boss, period. And he does it well.
And there's just certain lines that I will not allow you to cross. And I think you just found out which one that is. And then the other thing I liked was when Chief O'Brien kind of tried to make a move to try to explain it, and like,
he's like, also, I already have one officer taking his side. You don't want to go down that road, man.
Yeah, he shut him down real quick. And I was like, don't say it, Chief. Don't do it.
Don't do it. You don't want to know what happened to the last officer that did that.
No, I like you too much. Don't do it. Don't make me go down on you too, because I'll come down on you too.
What? Okay. So but you do bring up a good point. And that was a discussion that, Star Trek's always really good at bringing up these points. And one is tolerance to cultural diversity. And if there's a line, and where that line is, and is that line subjective? I feel like it has to be subjective. I don't feel like there can be any concrete thing to, and that is a very similar thing that we have in the United States, which is like, you kind of have all these cultures. You have Irish, you have Taiwanese, you have Kenyan, you have Italian, you have, whatever you have. And all these different cultures, for the most part, everybody has harmony. Everybody has, they have different foods, different clothing, who cares, right? But every once in a while, a culture has something that most other cultures frown upon or disagree with or think is horrible. There's, like for example, female genital mutilation or something like that, or eating dogs or whatever it is. And so I don't even know where that discussion begins or ends, but this is definitely a discussion that is had in the world and in Star Trek, which is, do we have the right to judge another person's culture, and do we have the right to pass judgment and say, sorry, but that one is wrong? And I don't obviously have an answer for that. I don't think anybody does, but I just thought it was really cool that Star Trek brought that up. As they do, they always do it perfectly. They did it in a way where we're like, we get it right away, and we're like, yeah, I know why he's pissed. One of his officers literally just tried to kill somebody on his station.
Yeah, and I don't think that. I think the way that they did it is what was offensive to Sisko, because let me throw out a hypothetical. If Worf goes to Sisko and says,
Right.
"I have to honor my brother's request. He asked me to kill him because because he can't dare to live this life, and in our culture, I can't refuse that offer. Right? I can't
It's a
refuse
very
that
good point.
request."
Mm-hmm.
Now, Sisko understands that and says, well, there's no way out of this. There's no way out of this. It's a cultural thing. Everybody's cool with it. He's all right with it. You're all right with it. Okay, well, you go down to Klingon Empire and do that.
Exactly.
I'll grant you a vacation. You can go for 3 days, couple days, get that done. But it's not going to happen here on my station. That I
Right.
think that if they had addressed it in a respectful way, including Sisko in the conversation, then it could have actually possibly happened.
Right. No, and that's a very good point. And as soon as you mentioned it, I thought the same thing. And I would think that the way Star Trek would write it and the way Sisko would say it is something in the vein of, Mr. Worf, I cannot allow that, and I forbid you to do it. But since you are having a very difficult time figuring out how you feel about this, I will grant you 3 days leave to go to the Klingon Empire and sort out your affairs, and I don't want to hear another word about it. In other words, I don't want to know. I don't know. I've told you not to, wink, wink kind of thing.
Right. And that to me is probably the way that Sisko would have addressed it and felt included in part of the decision making process. And then it wouldn't have felt like murder on his station.
And
Right.
full on disrespect of him as a captain. You're right. You're totally right. Yeah.
So I think that's why I think Worf went about it completely wrong. I mean, first of all, the fact that he didn't even question it, like, like he didn't try to argue against it or anything. He was like, "All right, what now? Later? What time? After lunch?" Um, and he's like, "I've already sharpened my knife. My knife's ready to go."
Yeah.
Uh, so that was the first thing, and then the second part was, like we were talking about, was just not consulting Cisco and kind of having him included with the whole thing, explaining the culture, explaining the process, and then coming up with a solution together, as opposed to, yeah, I'll kill you on my lunch break. So I think that was kind of critical, and I did like the way Cisco handled it, because he's like, no, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. Murder is not acceptable. I'm not giving you any reason. And he actually pointed out to Worf that you're not wearing a Klingon uniform. Like, what uniform are you wearing? Right?
Mm.
He brought that up to him.
Mm. Yeah, lots of great stuff there. And the Klingons are interesting because, like we mentioned before, the writers can do anything with honor. They can say honor makes them do this, or honor makes them do that, or honor this, or honor that. It's a great tool. And when you have great actors like Michael Dorn and Tony Todd, they can say these things that normally would sound crazy to us, and we go like, and they say it with such conviction that you believe them. They're like, okay, this is truly how they feel. This is their culture. We disagree with it, but this is how they feel. And but at the same time, you're right that, like, Worf's not a freaking ensign. He's a lieutenant commander. He should know better than to just kill somebody in his quarters. Be like, here's hair of the dog real quick for you to enjoy your beverage, and let me go ahead and stab you in the chest. Oh, Captain will be fine with it, I'm sure. Who cares?
Yeah, I think One of the biggest stories that I felt like was the overarching story that was being told in this particular episode was not so much about Worf and his brother, but about people who feel so destitute in life
Yes.
that they feel like suicide or dying is their only option. And those are people that are suffering with depression and suffering with just bad circumstances in their life that have led them to believe that. And I think that's the real basic underlying message behind this. And it was interesting to kind of explore it from that mentality, right? From that point of view, like how bad is it for some people that death is like the thing they look forward to the most, right?
Right. And I thought about when I was watching this, I was thinking about you and thinking about me. And I know we both have siblings. I believe you have one sister, right? I don't know if you have any more.
Yeah.
I have one brother. And what if your sibling comes to you and says, I want to die? I mean, like, that's, how do you address that? And, well, I don't know how you address it, but I can tell you that you don't stab them in the chest. This is make
Yeah.
believe. but,
Yeah, you
but
don't
it's
do that.
but it's such a difficult thing to go through, to see your own sibling have that kind of pain or dishonor or whatever it is, and say that to you. What do you do? How can you fix that?
Yeah, and that actually led me to another kind of idea or thought that crossed my mind while watching this episode, and that was all the technology in the future, all the little gadgets that Bashir has to be able to heal somebody and cure somebody.
And they don't have
It,
Xanax.
yeah, no, but they can't treat depression. Like
Right.
depression is still it's still something that's not curable. We see that in other iterations of the show. We see that with Picard and Rios and
You're right.
Picard himself and other characters. Right? They all are battling these demons inside their head because of whatever uh, is haunting them from their past. So, um, with all the technology and with all the science and medical advancements, they still have depression as a major issue in the future, and that's just something that kind of came to my realization watching this
That's
episode.
interesting. That's a good point, especially because, like, in this Klingon's case, it's more complicated possibly than just depression, because he's talking about his honor. And it's like, how, like, he actually needs a thing to change his perception of his honor. It's like, where do you even start with that? Like, if he thinks he has no honor, how can you convince him? And in the Klingon tradition, they only have like very few ways to restore their honor. Either Galron has to say, I've returned honor to you and your house, or
Mm-hmm.
or like they have to kill somebody in battle or something. They have like these weird strict rules that kind of control how they value themselves as a person. It's just weird.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought was interesting as a solution to this kind of troubled mental state of mind that he's in was literally just to erase his memory, right? So
Yeah.
like that'll cure you, but you won't remember anything. So
Yeah.
you don't get to take the good things out of life or the good memories that you had or the childhood that you've had or whatever it is that is good that you've had. You don't get to keep that as part of the solution, right? The solution is erase the hard drive and start all over again.
Right. But wouldn't we all do that for a sibling if our choice was for your sibling to die or for your sibling to live as another person and never know you again? We'd be like, fine, let him or her live. I'll be out of their life forever. But like, anything's better than seeing a sibling die. So that was, and then there's that
Yeah.
poignant moment at the end when he says, when Kern asks Worf, "Are you part of my family?" And I thought Worf was just going to say no, and then that's it. But it was even better than that. Of course, we shouldn't be surprised that Star Trek wrote it better than what we thought on a whim. He says, "I have no family." I'm like, because that's bigger than just this episode. He's saying, I am now officially alone.
Yeah. And speaking of just that Tony Todd's performance also, I just wanted to say, when Tony Todd comes out of the first kind of coma that he was put into medically.
Right. The first
and
one.
Worf, right. And Worf is there, hovering over him as he awakens. I thought that was a fantastic performance by Tony Todd. I want to highlight that, especially when he was questioning Worf and saying, "Well, you didn't kill me. You weren't successful at killing me, and you still had the moment now to kill me. You still have your blade on it. Did you fight them? Did you fight back? Did you try harder?
Did you threaten to kill them?" I love that line. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, fighting for his own death, right? Fighting his brother for not trying hard enough to kill him. And I thought that was just such a a real Shakespeare moment right there. I just thought the dialogue and the scene was kind of magical.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes on to say, "You were a Klingon for a moment there back in the quarters when you put that dagger in my heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the moment when you were most Klingon. And that's scary, right? If the most Klingon thing Worf has ever done is
kill his own brother."
Yeah, that tells you a lot about the Klingons, man.
That's why they are fearsome foes, because they're not afraid of death, and they think it's honorable to kill and to be killed. And it's weird, it's like this strange dichotomy of savage warrior yet honorable, virtuous, almost like they're almost like priests or religious figures, to where like they're constantly trying to be pure in whatever they believe their purity to be. So it's like this strange dichotomy that almost seems contradictory, but it makes for really interesting characters and a race that has a lot of depth.
It's not obscure though. It's part of our reality today. I mean, there's people that strap bombs onto themselves and blow themselves up.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
And they believe they're doing it in some kind of greater glory, right? Mm-hmm. They believe they're doing it with honor. And
before that, even when they were creating Klingons, they were, originally in the 60s, it was like USSR was what they were modeling them after. But then later on, they considered like the samurai warriors of back in the day, where it was like honor killings. It was about honor. It was about their sword and, that kind of stuff. But you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the mentality is not completely foreign. It exists even, in our own reality. So, but just to see it on display in this kind of a way, especially between brothers, is a really good entree into that kind of a storyline.
Mm. So we do only have about 5 minutes left. So let's also touch upon Kira and O'Brien, because Kira got the big chair for possibly the first time, at least in the Defiant. I mean, we've definitely seen her lead away missions and doing her own thing, but it was really cool. It was good. It was good. You know what? I think for this point I'm about to make, I'm going to have to pull out the tie. Actually, I can't make the tie I can't make the point without the tie. Okay.
There it is. Ryan's rant of the day.
Right. Nitpick. It's just a nitpick number 47.
It's just a nitpick. All right.
So I realize that Dax and Worf and Sisko and Bashir and Odo and all those people were needed on the station because of the A plot. But the B plot only had Kira and O'Brien. They needed to have more officers. How can you just have two main officers on an away mission? Where was Eddington? Where was Jimenez? Where were those two nerds in Starship Down?
Oh, okay.
And while I'm at it, O'Brien said, just like flushing quail. If I ever see a Star Trek character putting birds in a toilet, I'm calling PETA.
I don't know if that's what he meant exactly.
Oh, he meant flushing.
Yeah, they flush them out of their hiding places.
Their bushes and stuff.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, it would have been nice to see more officers.
Yeah, they know that they have these birds of prey there. They don't know how many there are, and they don't know how volatile they'll be. And so it seems a little bit weird that it's just the two of them looking like science. They're doing a science mission to go, map the rings around one of the wormhole planets. But it doesn't make sense. I would agree with you that they were kind of understaffed for a mission of that importance.
Just
right?
By themselves with a ton of Klingon ships that also, by the way, thank goodness, just like left. They exploded the mines, and the Klingons were like, well, there's no honor in fighting back. Guess we'll go home and say that our mission was, a huge failure. But yeah, right. I think that it would have been nice to have Dax there just to make it, a little bit, or like I said, Eddington would have been fine. They don't even have to have that many lines, but just give the mission the importance that it clearly deserves.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. It didn't stand out to me when I was watching it, but as you say it did seem like a real bare bones amount of people for a mission that big. But and then they kind of even downplayed it, right? I mean, it was almost like they went back with the same shuttlecraft that they saw the first time. I almost couldn't tell the difference that it was the Defiant or not because they didn't have many people on the bridge of the Defiant, right?
Right. And when we saw the second time, I was like, oh, wait, they're on the Defiant. And then I was like, were they always on the Defiant? I thought they were on a runabout. So I actually had to go back and check to make sure they were on a runabout the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. But the energy was still as calm as her waking up from her 7 hours sleep that she had taken while O'Brien was there, right? There was a kind of like, hey, we're just relaxing, we're just chilling. I'm so hungry I could eat Quark's food, And that same energy almost felt like it was transferred over to the Defiant. It wasn't like if we get this wrong, we realize we're going to start a war, or they're going to blow us out of the water if we get attacked by 20 birds of prey. It's over. So,
and by the way, that was the joke that Chief O'Brien made at the beginning, where she says, "Oh, I don't get 7 hours of sleep on the station." He's like, "Maybe it's the company."
Yeah, and I like that. I like that little joke. And I actually like the fact that they kind of brought eating Quark's food, and it makes it feel like there is a sense of community amongst them, right? Her talking about Quark's food or how bad the company is. I do really feel now more than ever kind of the bond between the cast, right?
For sure.
I feel it.
Yeah.
So it's been great. But I thought Tony Todd, once again, I mean, he just comes in and he does these performances that Carrie shows, and he's just that good.
Mm-hmm. So we do want to give a special thanks to Carmen Shamwell, PJ Tomas, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Bill Victor Arukin, Yvette Blackmon, Homer Frizzell, Eve England. What's that?
Eve England will know. It's just a little biscuit gift from her.
Oh, right. Marie Segal, Titus Moeller, Tim Baum, Susan V. Gruner, Robert Weisberg, Darlena Marie. Show us that box again from Eve England.
I got all my trinkets here from all the guys. Here's a Bill Erickson special right here.
Nice. The middle finger coin that we love. Yeah.
The middle finger coin. And this one is the Eve England special.
That was good. I ate mine
Nora.
right away.
Oh, you did? No, I still have them. I keep them for time.
Let's talk about those a little bit more on the other side on the free-for-all. But before we do that, last thing, Jake Sisko guesses the IMDb score.
Oh, I'm going to put it right down the middle, 7.5.
Wow. You know what's funny? My guess was 7.3, and it was a 7.4. So that's pretty good. Pretty good, guy. Pretty good.
Very good.
All right, so everybody stick around. We are going to hit the free-for-all right now, and we'll be right back on the 7th rule. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the 7th rule. This is the free-for-all. Cirroc Lofton is here.
Hello, hello.
We also have Dr. Sue Gruner. We have TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri. We have Homer Freezy out in New Yeezy, I think it was.
Yeah.
Something like
Hello.
that. We have Melissa Longo out in Los Angeles.
Woo!
Oh, whoa, whoa.
We got the Ric Flair band.
Oh.
It's because of the woos. Anyway, so we're finishing up our conversation about Sons of Mogh, and Homer had something interesting to say.
Well, I was going to actually piggyback on what other people were saying, so I'll go with something else that I thought of. It looks right now that Worf is getting ready to whisper into your left ear, and he's going to say, "Don't say anything mean about the episode." And I can't do Worf, clearly.
But we do want to point out, by the way, that you're a floating head today, Homer.
Yes. So today I am wearing, it's at the forefront of fashion, especially this time. It is the green screen turtleneck. And hands.
Kern's poking you in the head.
Yeah. It was kind of inspired by last week, I think, Duncan Regehr, his black turtleneck. And then also when Robert Hewitt Wolf was on, and I was obscuring the credits with his name, and he said, "Robert who? Hugh?" So now you can see Tony Todd is in this.
Right, and even if you walk through it, you still see.
Oh yeah,
Tony Todd.
I can float above it.
Oh, nice.
That is just great.
If everyone has this outfit next week, I would not be upset.
Melissa,
I think I'm gonna have nightmares.
Melissa, that's the next thing. Walking art made by Melissa.com could be doing green turtlenecks with just like a 7th rule emblem. So there's just like a floating 7th rule emblem with like a mask.
The floating heads.
Yeah,
that is a good idea.
Speaking of which, we do have a little show and tell. Dr. Sue is wearing something from Walking Art made by Melissa to show off. Ta-da! That's the Chat Pack shirt. That's awesome, made by Melissa. We include that in the description box below if you want one.
It fits perfectly, and it's nice fabric, and it feels so new. I love it.
Looks great.
Yeah, it looks good on you.
Yeah.
And
Homer was showing off something earlier too.
I have received today a mask from Walking Art by Melissa, and it's a takeoff on the other one. So instead of having the whoops, you're almost seeing my turtleneck there. Instead of just having the LLAP on both, it's on one side, and it's the right-hand side there. And I have something
so it's
else
like
nearby.
a Vulcan was like this and like slapped you.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, then sure. Yeah, so if you want that look.
I like it. Looks nice.
Yeah, it's great.
But Ryan, if you want to talk about the episode, I'm ready to say kind of what I was going to say, but I don't have to if someone else has something to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. But let's finish our show and tell first.
Oh, yeah.
Cirroc also has a couple things to show. Like he's got Eve England's thing, and
I've got these biscuits sent over from
Oh,
Wow.
It's a nice
delicious
little
biscuit from
treat.
Eve England. I already ate mine. It was so good. I ate it
Ryan.
like that night.
Ryan, in the U.S., biscuits are
Hey,
cookies.
Natasha. I know.
biscuits.
Hey,
Oh,
Natasha.
no. Don't
hi,
get this-
Natasha.
We're joined by
Hi.
Natasha in Utah.
Yes. Hello.
Wouldn't that be you, Tasha?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
Utasha.
okay.
It's Utasha for all y'all locals. It's Utasha.
I thought it was you talk too much.
Oh,
Not you.
no.
Not you. I just mean the. Never mind.
Ryan, your
I know.
agonizer, please.
I know. I knew it was coming.
Cirroc has another
And
item.
on another note,
that left.
Yeah.
It's
You
the
know?
sword of Kalis.
we're
That's
representing
what? That's
here.
Spitfire?
It's
Yeah.
not sort of Kalis. It's all of Kalis.
And see the back with your name on
Get it?
it?
It's not sort of Kalis.
Yes.
I got it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
It is nice.
Nice.
there it is.
And you know what I just noticed today? We mentioned this earlier in the episode, so we won't talk about it too much. But like this design here is what is the thing that's on Worf's sash.
Oh.
And I didn't even notice that until I watched this episode. I said,
yeah.
actually, you can.
Well, you know, the other thing is the quality of the wood that this thing's made out of. It's really made out of like walnut and cherry and just really good wood.
Nice.
So was that it? I thought there was another thing, Cirroc. Am I
Yep.
wrong? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have my chocolates from Bill. I have the
All right, the chocolates from
magnet
Bill.
from Muhammad. Yeah, I've got a bunch of little trinkets. So just thank you to everybody.
Awesome, good stuff.
And then also in today's post.
That reminds me, you're right.
Whoa.
Oh, hang on, hold it. There it is.
I like it.
Yeah.
And also, you're right, Cirroc. Thanks for reminding me. Check out this nice goodie that we got from Dr. Muhammad Noor. A nice little magnet.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, cool.
Are these like DNA strains? Wow, I didn't even
Yeah.
notice that until just
Yeah,
now.
they are.
Yeah.
Very
Awesome.
cool.
Cool magnet.
All right. We love showing our little toys to everybody.
And Mochi's butt.
Yeah, and Mochi's double butt.
Mochi's back.
So, Homer, sorry, you wanted to say something about the episode?
Yeah. So we were talking briefly about the opener, where Worf and Jadzia are battling, and it's the Batleth versus the what is it, TJ?
Mechleth.
Mechleth. Yeah. And he tells her that she was trying to distract him by wearing the low-cut shirt. She says, of course she wasn't, but there's a moment where she's actually walking away and she smiles.
Yeah.
As though, yes, that did work. Indeed. Yeah. And then the other thing, this is definitely the beginning of, the real beginning of the romance, I think, because when it's time to go, when he is just about to be called away, she's watching him, but she's actually watching his mouth instead of his eyes. So it's kind of like she's getting ready to move in for a kiss, or at least that's what I picked up. Now, I could be completely off base.
Good eye. Anybody else notice that?
I noticed it, but I didn't think she was going in for a kiss. But they were very close.
They were fairly close.
They were very close.
Very close.
Yeah.
And then
Just saying that's
and that was a chintzy Batleth.
It was a bad left.
Yeah.
Batleth.
But I did notice the moment where she kind of smiled as she was walking away after he commented on the outfit. So there clearly she wore that outfit for a reason, right? To kind of get his attention, and it worked. That's what I gathered from that small little subtle moment. Plus, where else is Worf going to find a really attractive woman that knows everything about Klingon culture and join him for Batleth fights in the holodeck? I think he's found like a perfect girl for him.
We have 3 girls right now, all going right here. We're going.
He is fairly cute.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Didn't Worf get better looking on Deep Space Nine than he was in Next Generation? What'd they do? Is it they added like rouge, or was it because of this, or did he get thinner, or what? Did they change the makeup? What's the difference? But he does look better in Deep Space Nine, right?
Well, the hair for one thing looks
It's
better.
the hair. It's the hair.
Oh, right. That.
I agree with the hair.
Oh, right.
He has less hair on DS9. Natasha, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Oh, a little bit more of the ridges on his cheeks, where he got a little bit more of, I know what I'm talking about stature.
Yeah.
In his face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because before he just kind of
Because
looked a
Picard
little
isn't telling him to
pudgy.
shut up.
He looked a little pudgy in Next Gen, but in Deep Space Nine, they contoured him a
Right.
lot.
I did notice something in the cheeks, like they add a little rouge or something like that. But yeah, also
they contoured him.
Next Generation first season, that hair. Dude.
Oh, what style would you call that? I was thinking page boy, but I don't think that's right.
You would call that this. Pretending to regrow your hair again.
Or his Men in Tights bob that he had for a while.
Yeah, I liked that hair. But if I recall from some behind the scenes talk at that time, he had his makeup for the Next Generation, and then that show ended, and they did the movies. And in the movies, they, kind of revamped the makeup because he's going on the big screen. So when they brought him to DS9, they didn't want to reverse that, and so he looks better in DS9 because he was also on the big screen.
Good knowledge there. So, anybody else have any thoughts about this particular episode, or can we ask a very interesting question of the week?
Well, I was going to also add for the beginning part that Jadzia and Worf have great chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So, yeah. I'm glad she wore that outfit, and I'm glad he wore it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was mentioned earlier, but I really caught on to Captain Sisko's line. Actually, I listen for this line every time I watch this episode where he says, "There's a limit to how far I will go to accommodate cultural diversity among my officers, and you just reached it."
Yeah. We definitely talked about that.
I always thought Worf should have came back. Well, Captain Picard let me kill Duras.
Ooh.
Well, I'm not.
Spoiler alert, Cirroc.
Yeah. Well, and then Sisko would come back with like, yeah, well, Captain Picard also tolerated Q.
Right.
And I also enjoyed that he didn't use the proper Starfleet dismiss to tell them to go. He was like, "Get out!
Yes.
Out.
Both of you, get out!"
Yeah.
Something like,
I was like, "You got wrecked."
I think that was more parental at that point. It was more parental at that point. He was like, "You kids, get out of here."
Yeah, I was. Before I get even more mad.
Yeah, it's interesting that they had Jadzia in there for that scene, given that she actually swooped in and had him go to sickbay to save him. So you see that she is in Worf's corner and is protecting him. But I would have thought it would have been just Worf in there. And I just wonder how things might have played out a little bit differently in the episode if it had been just Worf.
Right.
Because I think he was going to say something. And Jadzia says pretty much, "Yep, we're going.
You're right.
How do you think it would have played differently if Jadzia was on the Defiant with Miles and Kira, and then Worf was just dealing with Sisko on his own?
I think that he could have easily found himself in the brig or off the station. Because he has a volatile temper, and he knew he was correct, and he didn't like, to him, and he didn't like being told otherwise, and he certainly didn't like someone yelling at him, which appeals to, I think, a Klingon way of responding in a similar fashion.
Sorry, TJ, you were going to say something?
I just thought that scene with Jadzia and Worf in the office kind of was a good follow-up to the opening scene where we're talking about they're starting to show this chemistry, and then we see her, in there backing him up. Even though she was the one that stopped him, she's okay. You're getting called to the carpet for this, and I'll go stand on it with you.
Right.
Called to the carpet. That's a new one to me.
You've never heard that phrase, called to the carpet? Okay, you're getting called to the principal's office then.
I got that a lot.
You got that one, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
That's always been the phrase I use for, when the boss is like, front and center, mister, you got some explaining to do.
All to the carpet.
Huh. Anybody else have any thoughts on the episode? All right, well.
Jadzia actually... Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought that Jadzia actually... I thought she handled it very maternally. Rather than Karma Kylie. Like, I know she was trying to get with Worf, because I know that now, later. But it was a very maternal thing to do. To be like, stop what you're doing right now. I've got to handle the situation. Yeah. I felt like that's what she was trying to do right there, because she has been a mother so many of her lifetimes.
Yeah, she's definitely starting to get protective over Worf, which, as TJ's pointed out, is definitely a good follow-up to that initial scene where it's just kind of showing that they're getting closer and closer, and she's definitely got a thing for him, right, guys? I think it's safe to say.
Oh yeah.
All right.
You could see the beginning of the romance kind of in this episode starting to unfold.
They have a romance?
It looks like it.
Yeah. No, they definitely do. And it's good. It's a great one. It's really cool. Really like it a lot. What do you guys think? Worf and Jadzia or Worf and Troy?
Worf and Jadzia.
Yeah, Jadzia.
Hands down.
I don't know. I really liked that part of the Next Gen.
What was that? 2 episodes?
Parallels, I think, was when it.
Yeah, that's kind of where it started, when they were married. And I just watched that episode, actually.
That was like the third to last episode, and they're just starting it right then.
Forgot about that.
Because he even before that scene where they were married, he asked her to be like Alexander's stepmother, godmother.
Yeah.
So
okay, so check this out, guys. This is a holdover from last week. It's food related again, sorry, but this is just like, I gotta know. I think it was TJ that created this situation.
Yes.
With the grilled cheese sandwich. I gotta know your perfect grilled cheese sandwich. What kind of bread? What kind of cheese? You added some salted butter when you're toasting that thing. Good golly, I'm already getting hungry. Let's start with Malissa. What's the perfect grilled cheese sandwich?
Come on, I need some time to think here. Okay.
It's a grilled cheese.
Perfect.
The perfect grilled cheese, though.
Okay, well, yeah, that
Well, you have to have multiple cheeses in it. One of them being cheddar, extra sharp cheddar, and I'm flexible on the other cheeses. But and bread, I'm gonna say one that I don't often have on hand, but I love it, is the focaccia bread.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a butter fan, so I like olive oil. And maybe some seasonings on top. Maybe Parmesan crusting the bread too on the outside. Parmesan cheese. And I can throw a tomato in there. I like
Yes.
Whoa, where'd that come from?
I'm down with that. I'm definitely down with the tomato in the grilled cheese.
Okay.
Like how excited Ryan got about the tomato part.
It's kind of like if you're going to a restaurant and you're like, dude, am I really going to order a grilled cheese sandwich? You get like, you're kind of ashamed. You're like, am I really wasting a restaurant experience with a grilled cheese? But if you add tomato, it's just a hot sandwich.
Oh, you guys want to see husband in his real life?
Hey, Alex.
Hey, there goes.
Hey, Alex.
That's real life uniform.
That's him.
And I apologize, dog. On mute.
It's okay. What about you, Homer? What do you think? The perfect grilled cheese. If they were to make a grilled cheese sandwich and call it grilled cheese a la Homer, what would it be?
So I don't eat bread, but if I were to construct something to please others and my sensibilities, X the bread part, I agree with Melissa that it has to have cheddar. The bread, I'm sorry, has to be toasted and it has some butter toasted there, so it has to be crisp. You need crisp on the inside and really melty on the inside. No, crisp on the outside, melty on the inside. And you have to smell it. And when you bite into it, you need to feel that. So you can tell I've had grilled cheese sandwiches in the past. But you need to feel that kind of almost against the roof of your mouth, but you have that crispiness, but there's the little bit of softness in there before you even get to the cheese. Then you have the meltiness, and hopefully you don't have any on your face after, but it's okay if you do because that's the kind of food you're eating.
I like that you said you have to smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you
Part of
know.
the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Dr. Sue, is there going to be mayonnaise in it?
No, I don't like mayonnaise, but I like it in cake. But I'm cheating a little bit here because I haven't had a grilled cheese sandwich in decades. It's been a long time. However, if I was going to have one, I would have the one that guy made in The Devil Wears Prada that he made for his girlfriend. So I just got the recipe and it's Jarlsberg cheese with whole grain bread. And that sounds minus the ham, forget that. But that sounds really good to me. Where the outside of the bread is a little crispy and then soft, like you were talking about on the inside. That sounds really yummy.
Would you have a tomato?
Sure. And you know what? Maybe avocado as well.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like how Homer's like Geraldo or something, like
there's
really
gotta be-
leaning in. We're asking the tough questions here.
These are the
Would there
tough
be-
questions. And then my question to you all is, when is a grilled cheese sandwich not a grilled cheese sandwich, but the cheese is just sort of something that goes with everything else? I feel like we're getting close.
Yeah. I feel like it's very subjective too. It's kind of like, to each their own, I guess. But there are different hot sandwiches that are very similar. In fact, I'll mention mine real quick. When I was a kid, especially, my mom used to make us croque monsieur, which is a really good hot French sandwich. It's just like grilled cheese sandwich, but it also has ham, and oftentimes it would have like bechamel sauce as well, a little white sauce. And it's kind of like, those things where you make the waffles, the waffle maker is maybe what it's called, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a cook. And the French thing is the other side of that. So you go like this, you can put the waffle in there and it's got like the certain designs here. The other side of that, it flips over and it has like the sandwich maker on the other side for the croque monsieur. And so you would get the bread, you put the butter, you put the ham and the cheese, and you cook it, and then you flip it over just like a waffle.
Come on.
Of all names, that's the name of this grilled cheese that you like? Seriously?
Well, you know what monsieur means, like a mister.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, but what does the first part mean?
Thank you.
And Ryan, you know, they have a croque madame as well.
That's right, with like an egg on top of it or something.
Right.
The female version has the egg.
Of course it does.
There's the croque madame and there's the croque monsieur.
This was a setup for this joke now.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, this had nothing to do with grilled cheese. This was all a setup for Ryan
Exactly.
to give us this.
This is not so. If you go to France and you say, "Hey, I would like a grilled cheese," you probably won't get a croque monsieur.
Yeah. You should go to France and say, "I'd like a croque monsieur," and they'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I would like a croque monsieur.
Yeah.
No, but it really, there's an R in that word. It's okay. It's croque.
Oh, God, yeah.
Anyway, real quick though, Gouda cheese, brie cheese. I think that's the cheese to put in there, and definitely a tomato if you just want to have a grilled cheese sandwich that tastes amazing. And maybe avocado if you want to go crazy, because I love avocado. But smoked Gouda, brie.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Let's let me clean myself up here. Natasha, what about you?
You guys are way too fancy for my taste. Because I'm sitting here using just plain old white bread and pepper jack cheese and but double layers of pepper jack cheese. And you better butter the bread.
Butter the bread, both sides.
Butter the bread on both sides. And you grill it and make it nice. And that would be my perfect grilled cheese sandwich.
What do you think, speaking of pepper jack, this sounds like it'd be really good. What about like chopping up some jalapeno, just a little bit chopped up jalapeno, put it in the pan with some butter, let it grill a little bit, and then cook the bread on that.
I love the way you think. I love
I'm watching Homer's head.
Yes.
No.
He's like, it's no longer grilled cheese.
Don't encourage him, please. Not a grilled cheese.
For me, I love the way you think. Because it's bread. So I would just like literally just use the bread to soak up the hot.
Yeah. It'd be like a jalapeno bread.
Jalapeno bread. Jalapeno cheese.
Homer's hashtag is not a grilled cheese.
Not a grilled cheese. Hashtag.
All right, what do you think, TJ?
I'm like Natasha. Mine is kind of simple, just regular white bread and some cheddar. Sharp cheddar, like Melissa mentioned, and get it really good and melty and gooey inside. Butter the bread, definitely, and let it rip.
Let it rip.
Any tomatoes or
let's see.
kale
Okay,
in
we got to
there?
make it. We got to make it a fancy night grilled cheese. So I would probably add some chicken bacon.
Chicken bacon. Okay.
It works better than the turkey bacon for me.
Yeah. Turkey bacon is just not good.
It doesn't get the crisp, and I mean, you got to have the crisp.
All right.
I'll go with that.
I think
No
Sue
bacon.
Sue, Melissa, and I are like, whatever. I eat fake bacon anyway.
Yeah.
Morningstar brand. Well, Cirroc, what about you? Are you down with the white bread?
The earth for me.
Yeah, I'm down with the white bread, and that's how I do it. I'm old school, and we used to eat grilled cheese when I was growing up, and we didn't really put much into it. It was just white bread, and actually we used the regular processed cheese slices, those Kraft slices of cheese.
That's because they melt.
Right.
Because they do.
Cheese product.
Tim would be, yeah, exactly. Tim would be proud of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Tim isn't here. We needed Tim here for this one.
Yeah, in honor of Tim, I go with the old school slices of cheese. Now I get the organic ones, but they're still processed cheese product. And it's just good. I just like it.
You're right, TJ. Too bad Tim's not here. He would have loved
Tim's
this.
not here.
And
but
his best reaction is when he's on mute, but he laughs so hard so you see him going, and he like rocks back in his chair, and you're like, oh, I wish I could hear this laugh. It's such a good one.
I know.
Sorry, what were you saying?
We do have the chat pack with us, and I think the chat pack should put in the comments below.
Yes.
After you smash the like button, like a Jim Hadar, in the comments below, tell us how you make a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah, smash the like
Star
button like
Trek
a Vulcan slapping Homer in the face. Hit that like button. Sorry, finish that, TJ.
I said, and what Star Trek character would you serve it to?
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh.
Kira.
Yeah, who do you guys think, final question before we run, who do you guys think would appreciate a grilled cheese sandwich the most? Like, of all the Star Trek characters, if they got surprised, like somebody just showed up and said, hey, you could use a delicious grilled cheese sandwich right now. And they're like, oh, how'd you know? Like, who do you think would just go nuts for it? Homer knows.
Well, I'm thinking it's someone that has to either like trying new things or likes home cooking. And I think that number one would like your not grilled cheese sandwich with the jalapenos.
Number one, as in Una in Strange New Worlds? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
she likes the jalapenos on her burger.
I don't remember that part. That must have been in the short trek, right?
No, it's when she first arrived on board, and there's a scene in the canteen, and they're getting something from the food. I don't know if it's a replicator then or if it's something else. Yeah, dispenser. That's right.
I thought you were talking about Jonathan Frakes because he was making that pizza in the Picard episode.
Yep, that's a good choice as well. So if someone wants to go with that,
add bunny corn sausage to his grilled cheese.
Yeah, number one. I'm thinking maybe. I feel like Bashir is the kind of guy that like you'd hand and he'd be like, "How'd you know my favorite?" Whatever he would say.
Wait, tomato soup goes really good with grilled cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's Tom Paris
soup.
So does what?
Plomeek soup, but you're right, Tom Paris. That's a good one.
That's who I was thinking about, Tom Paris.
Oh, darn it.
But
I should be quiet and let
one
people
too.
answer.
Nope, I have another one. I'm always ready.
All right, hit us with it, TJ.
Charles Tucker III, my go-to for. I think that Trip likes all of the food that I like.
He puts catfish in his grilled cheese.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
When is it a po' boy?
When is it
becomes a Philly cheesesteak sandwich after if you keep putting stuff in it.
What do you think, Melissa? Who loves grilled cheese?
Well, I could tell you who I think would appreciate getting one and trying one would probably be Rom.
Oh.
Because he likes to try the new breakfast or whatever shift he's on, their meal of preference.
I thought you were going to say he likes to try the new breakfast burrito at Del Taco.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. Yeah.
I was waiting to hear that.
Yeah.
Lisa, you made me think about something. What about Nog?
Yeah.
Can he likes root beer? Why wouldn't he like a grilled cheese sandwich?
Possibly.
He's open-minded when it comes to
with slugs.
Oh yeah, he would add grub. What is it? Two grubs.
Yeah.
Let it wriggle around in the cheese.
I mean, what good is it if it doesn't wriggle on the way down?
Yeah. What do you think, Natasha? Who loves grilled cheese sandwiches?
Well, actually, I think surprisingly, I think Worf would like one. Surprisingly.
A warrior sandwich.
Yeah.
Because he likes prune juice.
Yeah.
And it's a very something that we would associate with us. But I think that he would actually appreciate it because it's crispy on the outside, melty on the inside, delicious all the way through.
Like a toothless old Grishnar cat.
Yeah, I think that he might be able to appreciate it. I don't know that he would really like it per se, but I think that he would eat it.
Don't stand in the turbo lift when Worf has had his grilled cheese and his prune juice. You don't want to be alone with him.
Okay.
Cirroc Lofton, ladies and gentlemen.
I smell something too, Captain.
I think you really got sued.
He who smelt it dealt it, Captain.
He who denied it applied it.
Actually, that's the face he makes. It's right behind you, Ryan. That's the face he makes, Captain.
Oh my God.
I have something to release.
It was not me.
It has been a stressful day.
Try to relate.
No, that's when he would say, death to the opposition.
To the opposition.
Can it be used as a weapon? A weapon
That's
of
funny.
choice.
Hashtag death to the opposition. That's you guys. That's what you have to say from now on. That's
Every time we have grilled cheese and prune juice in the same meal.
Oh wow.
well. On that note, I think it was an F sharp.
Oh, no.
Oh, Cirroc, did you give us who likes a grilled cheese sandwich?
I'm gonna go with Joseph Sisko.
Oh yes.
Yeah. He'd appreciate a good grilled cheese sandwich. It reminds him of his upbringing or something.
Mm-hmm. Love that dude.
Yeah.
Ryan, did you give us who was eating a grilled cheese sandwich with you?
Oh yeah, I said Bashir because first I was thinking O'Brien.
Oh, that's right.
But I was like, O'Brien seems too obvious. I feel like Bashir
He would
be
add
one
potatoes
of those.
to his.
Yeah, it feels like Bashir's a guy that has grilled cheese every day, whereas O'Brien would have one every day, whereas Bashir would be like surprised and be like, "Oh, how did you know? I could definitely go for one. Cheerio," or whatever the heck he says. I don't know.
Cheerio.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we better run, guys. But that was a great question, TJ. Everybody in the description or in the comments section, let us know what's your grilled cheese sandwich and who would you feed it to really make their day. Should be a good question. I really like it. It's fun. Anyway, thanks very much, guys. It's been fun. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Homer, Natasha, Sue, TJ, and everybody at home. We'll see you again soon. Thank you all very much. And always remember the 7th rule.